Hi, everybody, and welcome to Physics at Randolph College. I'm your instructor, Katrin Schenk, and I'm going to walk you through how the class works. So we use Moodle. You may not be familiar with that, but the way to get there is to type moodle.randolphcollege.edu into your browser, and then you're going to log in with the first part of your email, like Randolph College email address. So for instance, my email address here at Randolph College is kshank@randolphcollege.edu. So my username would be kshank. And then you use your password that gets you into your Randolph College email to get into Moodle. Now, once you get in, if you're taking, 3 classes with us in the summer, you'll see all 3 of your classes listed, and you click on this one. Those of you who are only taking 1 class, you'll just see the one, and then you click in to see this view. Now, this one says hidden from students because I'm not finished putting everything up. So you won't see this. You'll see it'll be sort of open for you. A copy of this video will be right here. And then a really important part is our calendar. This tells you what's due when. It also gives you suggestions on when to do things. So for instance, let's take a look at the very beginning. So July 10th, there's the pre-lab. It's just a quiz that's due that day. And then on July 11th is the suggested day to get that lab 1 done. Okay. Now, you don't have to do it then because it's actually not due until here. And it looks like I need to put that in here. Oh yeah, sorry. Lab 1 video due. So it's not due, and it's actually a video report. It's not due until the 15th. I'll talk about the video report in a second. So it's not due for a while, but we suggest that you get it done here, especially since you're going to make a video, right? So you can make a video and send me a link to a YouTube video. It doesn't need to be public, right? You can make YouTube videos private so that only I with a link can view it. That's the easiest way to do it, but you could also upload it to the Moodle site, etc. But that's the first lab is a video report. Okay. So if we kind of look at the next one, okay, we'll look right after this one, the day that you should probably work on that lab is lab 2 pre is due the night before the suggested day to finish that lab. Okay. So we give you some suggestions, and all the due dates are actually on the actual turn-in places and quizzes. Okay. So there's, of course, a video conferencing link. There's the formal lab rubric, which we'll talk about in a second, contents of your lab kit, and contents for both. Some students are actually taking both at the same time. Okay, so let's keep going. We also have free tutoring available. Okay, now let's look at lab 1. Now, lab 1, this is what each little section will look like. So each lab has its own section. And what it'll tell you is it'll tell you what kind of report. So this says formal oral because it's a video, and it really should say video. I'm going to change that. Formal oral, but by video. And then you're going to see a checklist of things to do. Now, this first week, the first couple of days, you actually have a bunch of things to do that aren't really related to lab 1. They're more related to the lab work, all of the lab work. Okay. So for instance, there's an Excel quiz, there's a statistics quiz, there's a significant figures quiz. This is just to, refresh your memory on some of that stuff that we'll use for the rest of the time. Okay. So now if we look down, you can see that there's all these little quizzes you have to take. And then there's that pre-lab, right? That's really about the lab 1. And then here's a place that you're going to turn in your video, right? So here's what I want from the video. I want you to upload the link here, showing your experiment and your results, introduce yourself, make sure to answer the questions in the lab manual, and explain how you got your mean and confidence intervals, etc. So you'll see what that means in a bit when you start working on the content. Okay. So that's where you're going to turn in that link. You can also upload the entire video, like I said, if it's not too long. Okay. And let's look at the next lab. So the lab kit's not required for either of these so far, right? So don't panic if you don't have your lab kit yet. Yeah, you will get it soon. And there's a few labs where you don't need them the first couple of labs. Okay. It tells you the checklist, like the pre-lab, do your lab activities, and then turn in, do this informal lab report. Now, you might have noticed that there's this report site says informal now, and informal is literally just a quiz. It's a quiz about the lab, about what you did, okay? And you can see that right here. It's got a little check mark. That means quiz. And then the first time that we actually get to a formal written report is in lab 3. And here, there's a bunch of stuff about the lab itself. And then there's a little quiz to make sure you understand what the lab report, the formal lab report requires, okay? And those are the due dates are on all of this stuff. And here's where you would turn in that formal lab. So as we go through, right, you're going to see in the calendar here that each one in the red here says what kind of lab is due that day, right? So here's lab 2 informal due on the 17th of July by midnight, etc. Right? Lab 3 is formal. Lab 4 is informal. Lab 5 is formal, right? So we go through these different types of lab. And I think I may have changed lab 9 to be informal, so I will go check, but I think I might have changed it to be informal. So I will change it on the calendar. But at the very least, it's going to be, it'll tell you what it is down at the bottom when we go to lab 9. So let's scroll down to lab 9. Again, all this will be visible to you, won't be hidden from students. Okay, so if we look, oh, look, lab 9 is now informal, not formal. Okay, so that is not a formal report, even though it says it on the calendar. Okay, but this is basically how the lab works. Now, to get in touch with me, you can text me. That is usually the best way to get a hold of me. Feel free to email me as well. And if you email me and it's a big long thing, or it's something that's really urgent, then text me as well, because then you can say, oh, I just emailed you, can you check? Okay, but texting me is a really good method to get a hold of me. Make sure that you tell me who you are when you text me. So say, you know, I'm so-and-so, I'm in your physics 1105 class, right? Tell me who you are. And then you can ask your questions, and usually I can get back unless I'm driving, I can get back to you pretty quick. Just that's the best way to get a hold of me. You know, if you text me after 9 p.m., I may not get back to you till the morning, just FYI. Okay. So that's how to get a hold of me. I also have office hours via Zoom, and that's the Zoom link up here. Okay, now it says lab sessions. I'm going to change that in a second, but we don't really have we don't have any Zoom lab sessions. Like, you don't have to like be on Zoom with me, right, at any time, right? You are really working on at your own schedule, okay? Except for the deadlines, right? But you don't have to sit on Zoom with me at any time. So that's not how this class works. Okay. All right. Well, I hope that I've given you enough that you can get started in the lab. And you can always text me with any kind of questions or problems. And we'll see you in class.